good people? It's your man Tyke, and I'm coming to you with another story. True Spook TV story. I want you guys to keep in mind that everything here, and I say, will be the absolute truth. Nothing is omitted, nothing is made up. These are stories from my childhood all the way up to my adulthood. I ask that you be respectful in the comments, as facts and details will be revealed, so you may look this up yourself. Now, to make this so crazy, my auntie was shot and killed on her son's birthday, August 13th. And she was buried on my birthday, August 21st. At the beginning of the story, I had to be about 13 years old, living within Orlando, Florida area. So I had this dear sweet auntie. She was a blessing to be around. She was happy, joyful, and she just loved to make everybody have fun. Well, one night, she was drinking under the tree, as most southern people do in a well-kept community. Those of you from the south, from the north, as southern folks will get together, all congregate under a tree on the corner or something like this. It goes back to the island days. We'll talk, laugh, drink, tell stories, and just have fun. Well, this night, my auntie, she comes to my grandmother's house. And when she came to my grandmother's house, she was intoxicated, and her and my grandmother never got along really. They always had this love-hate relationship. So I was laying on the living room floor watching television. I was supposed to be asleep. It's around about 9, 10 o'clock at night. But my grandma stayed up to watch late night television, and I was just so happened to be catching a little bit of the Bob Hope show and all that good stuff. Well, my auntie comes staggering to my grandmother's house drunk in a daze, and she's in that mood where, you know, most drunk people get, and they want to just love on somebody. And my auntie came to my grandma. She was apologetic. She was loving, telling my grandma she loved her. And again, I'm going to do a voiceover, and this is how I feel my auntie sound and how I feel my grandma sound. So again, please keep the comments respectful. There's a knock on the door. Boom, 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 boom. Who is it? It's your daughter, your oldest girl. What the, grandma? What the fuck you want? Mama, let me in. Didn't I tell you don't bring your ass back here smelling of them booze? Mama, I just want to kiss your neck. I love you. I just want to come lay down a little bit. Get your junky ass out of here. I hope you die. Mama, you don't mean that. Bitch, didn't I say get away from here? Invoice acting. I guess I keep my day job, y'all. Well, my grandma did open the door for my auntie. She came in and she was just telling my grandma how much she loved her. Grandma, I love you, I love you. She said, Mommy, I love you, I love you. We don't get along, but I love you. My grandma just couldn't stand that she was a drunk. So my grandma sent her back out on the streets, and she went back under the tree. And now it's about 11, 12 o'clock at night. And she just like, I'll just party myself. And she went and got another bottle of E&J. Here in the South, we call that Easy Jesus. So she went and got another bottle of E and Jesus, and she just went and set up under the tree. So it was a couple more winos and drunkards and just people partying. So she began to dance. And I'm getting on firsthand witness account. She began to dance and party, and she was just slow dragging to herself, and she was just saying, one day my mom's gonna love me, one day my mom's gonna love me, all this would be beside it. She started singing that song, over yonder where my Jesus lives, over yonder where my Jesus lives, I'm gonna rest from all of my labors over yonder where my Jesus lives. So everybody say she just kept singing that, and she went into a whole full song mode, word for word, play for play, and she was acting it out, and she was dancing on everybody. So, and I'm tearing up a little bit, y'all, so please bear with me. So as she's singing that and everything, now it's about 2 in the morning. She had began to wind down, and she just said she just kept yelling. She was so tired. She was so tired. So about 2:30 in the morning, this guy, I'll just say his first name. I won't say his last name. I'm pretty sure you guys can look it up. This guy by the name of Raymond. He and another guy by the name of Tom. They got into it with a couple rival gang members in the downtown Orlando area, and they thought if they would do a drive-by the hole where that particular gang was selling drugs and everything, and typically where my auntie and all her friends, drunks, people that got high, etc., would just hang out till 4 or 5 in the morning till the police come and tell them to move, or until they just got tired and went on to their resting spots. Well, these guys had a really great idea to go and shoot the space up. So Raymond and Thomas gets into an 84 Buick. I'm going to say it wasn't an 84, I'm sorry. It was a 93 Buick, beige, white seats, bubble glass window, beautiful car. And they decided to go back and shoot up the place at the rival gang members. Well, from eyewitness account, the guy, Thomas, had the AK-47, and Raymond had a regular 5-shot snub revolver. Well, they began opening fire, striking no one except my auntie. Say the bullet went from her, it hit her in her chest over her heart area, and it came out the back. Say the bullet entrance was so small going in, but the explosion from the back almost was like a baseball, from what I would describe. And she laid there dead on the ground under the tree in the hole where everybody was drinking. Now you would think that the spooky part of that story would be my grandmother's one and only sin to me was cursing my auntie to the grave. But you would be wrong. There's more to this story, so bear with me. Now, this part of the story is going to focus on the family of the two men who actually did the deed. So there my auntie is laying dead on the ground. Coroner came, pronounced her dead on the scene. I'm 13, 14 years old. Tragic time. Grandmother is all shook up, regretting I should have just let her come in and stayed the night. She wanted to come out the street, but I turned her away. Remorse, feelings. Grandma took that to her grave in pain, you know. Now, the two guys that did the shooting, they ended up going to jail for like 7, 8 years, and then they got out of prison. When they got out of prison, they was all afraid that my auntie's son, which is a known habitual felon, when I say you put this bitch in a room with a cigarette, I guarantee he'll take out more people than the cigarette ever could. We'll leave it at that. Well, these guys go to prison for 7 years, they get out. And they are all up in arms thinking that, okay, while they're in prison, my cousin would go back and probably retaliate against their mother and everything. But he never did. He understood that, you know, it wasn't the mother that did it. You know, he had sense at that time. Not anymore. Well, 7 years pass, the guys get out of prison, and lo and behold, my auntie's son has grown up without his mother. He's been back and forth out of jail, out of juvenile, out of jail, to now he's just a hardened criminal. So he had a reputation in the Orlando area as being a real live head banger, head hunter, head killer. He was about life, y'all. I should say he was about death. So a sister of one of the two guys, and I'll say Raymond. Yeah, if I can remember right, it was Raymond. Well, Raymond's sister had started dating a guy named Derek. Everybody grew up in the same project, so everybody knew everybody. So she had started dating Derek, and she had several kids from Derek while everybody was away. The sister remained close to our family because, maybe it was out of sadness, but all in all, she was just an awesome girl. She had the stankiest little walk. Everybody used to compliment her on a walk. She used to lean forward and hike up her ass, and she was pigeon-toed and bow-legged, and all the guys would go crazy. And my uncle, and this is why I'm giving that description, because my uncle was like, boy, you can ride that pigeon, in country voice, so y'all bear with me. Like, ooh, that pigeon could sit on the wire, baby. So we would all laugh, and she just knew everybody was listening to her for the walk, and she would just walk back to Well Cold Magic Fry back in front of our apartment, would get all the accolades. Well, she had grew up, and she had about 3 or 4 kids from Derek. She still maintained that jazzy walk and that cool shape. So now my cousin, he's every bit of a hardened criminal. I think he was on his 3rd prison sentence. Just hard. So here is the spooky part about that situation. Now I described the characters. Now I'm going to tell you how the spook part come into this at. Well, my cousin, he gets into a shootout at the mobile gas station at the corner of a major intersection. I'll just say Jungyang, just to save a little bit. Jungyang Parkway, and another cross section, major intersection. While he's at the gas station, this lady, the daughter, the sister, I should say, of Raymond, one of the men who shot my auntie in a drive-by, his sister, Sarah, and I'm changing a little bit of the names. His sister Sarah was at the light. As my cousin gets in a shootout with some rival people, their guns are pointed towards the opposite way of the intersection, and his gun is pointed towards the intersection. And as they're shooting at him, pop, 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 he's ducking behind cars. It's a big shootout. He ends up shooting back towards these guys. He hits 2 of the bullets he shot, hit their car, and the 3rd bullet found its way into a car that was sitting at the... Well, when the smoke cleared, literally, everybody say that car didn't move. Police was called, found out it was the sister to one of the guys. It was the sister of one of the guys who had shot my auntie in a drive-by. This is my cousin who actually did the shooting at the gas station, his mother. So the spooky thing about this story is here. The bullet hit his mother's killer. Didn't get justice like that at that time. He got a reduced sentence. But what's the odd of my cousin bullet striking that girl in the head at the light? The only fatality of the night, striking that girl in the head at the corner. That's a peculiar thing. Everybody was like, wow. It was a mystery that has not been solved to this day because nobody knows who done it. I don't know for sure if my cousin Bullet was the one that hit that girl. Only thing I know is that when you do the trajectory, his gun was pointed towards the intersection as he fired. The other 3 gunmen was pointed away from the intersection as they fired at him. You do the math, you come to your own conclusion. So there you have it, folks. My auntie was killed in a drive-by. My cousin's mother. The guys went to prison for a couple years. They get out. The universe felt justice still wasn't served. This beautiful girl, who everybody adored, married, had her life. The bullet fired, allegedly, fired from my cousin's pistol, goes in her car, strikes her in the back of her head, killing her instantly at death. And the case is still unsolved. Was that justice, spiritually, karma, that the universe feels the need to pay a debt? Did my grandmother go in the basement and cook up something feeling guilty? We'll never know. But I want you guys to draw your own conclusion of this. Alright everybody, I'm Tyke. Telling you guys, duck, cover, run, but whatever you do, repent. Thank you all. Have a great one. Over yonder where my Jesus lives. Over yonder where my Jesus lives. I'm gonna rest from all of my labors. Over yonder where my Jesus lives. This old world is not my home. I didn't come here to stay. Oh, just a few more rising and setting of the sun, and I'll be on my way. Over yonder where my Jesus lives. Over yonder where my Jesus lives. I'm gonna